9 moments before the close, make that 8, and the Dow is soaring after the Fed cuts interest rates by 3/4 of a point.
All right, is the rally going to continue? Looks like it's going to make it. Our Fox panel back for last looks on this one. Eric Bowling, Peter Schiff is with us, Victoria Barrett, and of course Gary Kaltbaum. So Gary, what do you think? You think that this rally is going to continue into tomorrow? I'm going to give it the last 7 minutes of the trading day.
Yeah, look, here's what I think happened here in the last couple of days. The worst news possible came out near the lows, sucked out all the last sellers of this last drop. I think this low is going to hold for the near to intermediate term. I believe there'll be more upside. I suggest probably around 13,000, then we reevaluate.
Okay, Victoria Barrett, you have the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P all up, some close to 4% now at this end of the trading session. These are huge jumps, not to mention the Russell up more than 4%, nearly 5%. Do you think that this rally continues?
Well, what's interesting to me and what I think is a sign of strength is that it's so across the board. I mean, you've got Walmart up, you've got Google up, you've got Citibank up, you even got the housing sector up. That, to me, is a good sign. I mean, it's a sign of health and confidence in the market, which is what's really been lacking. I mean, the past couple of days have been frightening for investors. I mean, just not knowing what's around the corner. We still don't really know what's around the corner, but it's a sign that the confidence might be coming back.
Tracy Burns, you're with us out at the New York Stock Exchange, I believe. Is the confidence still there for us?
You know what? There's definitely a buzz down here that hasn't been in a long time. People are running around, and all across the tape are buy orders. People are buying. They're putting their money in, and it's not short covering like we've seen in the past. So there is a little bit more confidence down here than there's been in a long time. No one by any stretch is saying we're done, but definitely more confidence than we've seen in a while. You know, Goldman Lehman this morning, actually, while we talked about how their earnings weren't great, but at least they beat expectations, what they did do is tell us that, you know what, maybe the investment banks are not collapsing after all, and that, I think, was a vote of confidence. And as far as the Fed, yeah, the market wanted 1% cut, but I think when they digested it, they realized that, one, if they got that full 1%, that would mean there's ominous stuff out there, still scary stuff out there that they had to go that low. And two, of course, this gives them wiggle room for May. So in the end, I think everyone was pretty happy, and clearly they are, because we're like looking at 400 points up pretty soon.
Although, I would imagine, Peter Schiff, you don't believe in this rally having legs beyond today.
Well, I don't know about beyond today. I mean, it could be a short-term bottom, technically, but I wouldn't imagine the bottom would hold up very long. I think the bear market is still with us. I think ultimately we are going to make new lows, so I wouldn't get excited about this rally, and I think the dollar is going to continue to slip away. So even before we make new nominal lows, if you price the Dow in euros or gold, which is down today, or other currencies, Japanese yen, this market is going to make new lows soon in those currencies.
Eric?
Let's start with Victoria mentioned the broad-based rally. Financials up 5%, transports up 4% in light of a $4 move in crude oil. That's a good sign. Tech's up 3%. Conglomerates up 4%. Broad-based, that's good news. Tracy's right. Also, buyers, new buyers coming into the market. This is a restoration of confidence. Granted, this was pretty shaky for the last few months. This is a new restoration of confidence. I think this is a great sign. Gary, I'll let you out of the bet. If you really beg me, I'll let you out of the bet.
Except it's false confidence.
That's okay, buddy.
Hey, the transports are up 229 points. Victoria, what does that say to you?
Well, it's amazing in light of high oil prices, right? I mean, it's a sign that investors think the economy is going to be able to withstand high oil prices, and that growth is going to continue because, right, stuff is moving across the country. That's good for the transport sector. So it's a good sign. I mean, Peter, you say it's false confidence. Gosh, do we know at this point? We've had so many false starts, and then we hit a bottom the next day. It's so hard to tell with this market. We're in a really volatile situation.
Can I just add something here?
Go ahead.
Just watch the financial stocks. They started this bear market back in February. If they can continue, well, today is just one day. I wouldn't go further than that. If they can continue to get a good, strong bid, and they actually buy up bad news. I got to tell you, I don't think Goldman Sachs earnings was that good. I don't think Lehman was that good. But markets sometimes discount better going forward. So if I can see better action in them, I will definitely get on the bull side. But I need more than one day.
Hey, Gary, real quickly, not that Goldman Sachs earnings were that good. They beat, which is important, but also they came out and they said our liquidity position has never been stronger, and that's a big statement.
I've heard those words before.
Yeah, but Goldman doesn't do that. Goldman wouldn't do that. They're the 600-pound gorilla in the room. There's no way they'd come out and say that.
Let me ask you, though. Let me ask you, because I saw the same headlines crossing this morning. We were on the air, and I was thinking to myself, this is a positive, but then I heard people saying, no, wait a minute. They still were losing money. The profits were down at Goldman and at Lehman. This is a bunch of baloney. Stocks trading high. They were oversold. That's the only reason people bought them this morning.
The write-downs were better than they thought they were going to be.
Because
And
I
the
gotta tell
liquidity,
you,
by the way, they're going to benefit from Bear Stearns' failure. They're going to get all those clients.
Go ahead, Gary Kaltbaum.
I don't trust a word these guys says about their financials. These companies don't even know what's in the closet right now. So I'm just happy that the market's reacting well. When I hear somebody say, "Oh, our financials are better. We mark to this market or that market," I don't trust a word they say. I think there's probably more to come. The good news, the reaction was good, and that's what I want to say.
Gary, what do you make of the fact that yesterday, if you bought Stearns for $1.99, today it's $6 and change?
I think the stock is shooting the middle finger up at J.P. Morgan right now and saying you paid too little and something's going to get done here. I think this was a shotgun or tried for a shotgun marriage, and I think it was way under what price they're worth. Just look at what the building is worth. I believe that's worth $1.2 billion.
Yeah.
Only if you can unload the liabilities on the Fed.
I think this is going to be very fluid with Bear Stearns, and I expect higher prices, but it's not going to be pretty. And I got to tell you, I am so sick for the employees and what's happening.
Hey, Gary,
No.
Yeah, 1 second, real quick. Sunday night, there was not a bid for Bear Stearns, so the Fed turned and said, "Hey, you guys take this for $235 million. We'll give it to you."
Well,
not a bid.
I can't argue.
Again, without the Fed in there to take all the liabilities and the bad debt, there would be no bid.
Except that people, I go back to what Gary Kaltbaum said. How do you know what these guys are saying about their own companies? Alan Schwartz came out last week and said, we have enough money to keep operations going. 48 hours later, that was a big lie. And now the SEC sending them letters saying, we are possibly considering investigating you, Victoria.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, Chris Cox was also out there as head of the SEC playing attorney for Bear Stearns. So the SEC is going to regulate Bear Stearns now, and Alan Schwartz and Chris Cox did the same thing.
That's a very good point.
It's a bizarre world with what we've been seeing.
He's doing exactly what Paulson is doing. He's trying to talk his way out of a mess.
Well, Eric believes that you got to do this, or else we've got a depression on our hands.
You have systemic problems. Systemic risk turns into a real problem.
We already have those problems. The problems were when we blew up the bubble, not that it burst.
Corporate, last word for me, corporate earnings are great outside the financials.
That's a good point, too, Victoria. You know, the companies aren't falling apart outside of financials.
Yeah, well, half the earnings for the S&P are
That's a great point. I think the consumer is going to get hit, though, going forward. That's inevitable.
30 seconds to the closing bell. Cheryl and I are just stupefied because, you know, the market expected a full point cut in Fed funds rates. They got 3/4 of a point. Usually the market shows its disappointment. Today, it did not.
You really want to hope that with the thrust of confidence Eric Bolling is talking about is taking hold, and it's going to keep hold tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. But there you have it. The Dow closing 398 points higher. Who knew? With a 3/4% rate cut from the Fed.
And in the last couple of seconds, the NASDAQ, that's Eric clapping, ekes out a 4% gain at the